Does that mean Batman is really a very irrational man? Irrational Man is a movie directed and written by Woody Allen, a really famous and recognized and praised movie director, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix and Emma Stone, by also having as supports Jamie Blakely and Parker Posey. This movie is 96 minutes long and is the story about a philosophy professor that finds no meaning in life and finds nothing to live for, and the student of his that falls in love with him. I really shouldn't say nothing else because it's very interesting to see it happening in the moment. When I was first going to watch this movie, I thought that it was going to be really good because it's Woody Allen, and Woody Allen has really been a great director in my life, and he has really been a great director in general. So I found that to be a great expectation to fulfill. And also the actors were really amazing. I had just seen her for the first time, and now Joaquin Phoenix was here again. So I thought that I should watch this because it's amazing, and Emma Stone is a great actress, so everything was good. And I thought it was gonna be a good movie at least, and a great movie at best. And it didn't disappoint me. It was just a good movie, a plain good movie, a plain enjoyable movie, and what I expected, but not surpassing my expectations and not going to what I thought it could be. It was a funny and interesting and a bit different movie because it treats some subjects and it treats the comedy in a dark way that not lots of movies do, but in actuality it's really not that unusual. But it actually takes this topic of something that I'm not gonna say because it might be a little bit of a spoiler, but it takes this topic and it shows it in a different way, in a comedic way, in a little bit comedic way, in a dark comedy way that may not be for everybody else. It really worked for me, so that's a positive, and that's the way it showed me that it was a good movie. They're not really amazing, the directing and the acting and everything, so I don't think I will give it the best. But the movie was actually really enjoyable and it was really passable as a work of art. A negative aspect could be that it goes a little bit pretentious and slow at times. The pacing is just not every time very well managed, and it suffers in some parts because they just repeat things, or they just do nothing, or they just become a little bit pretentious with this philosophical banter. Other than that, it was really good, and I wouldn't give it any worse either. No bad performances, no bad directing, just mediocre, just plain good movie, just a competent movie made by competent people, made competently. Good movie. In the end, it was enjoyable and it was a note to philosophy. It was a love letter to philosophy and philosophers around the world and around the ages, so that everybody could feel inspired to check some philosophy and to think about their future and to think about how to live their lives and to think about what is truth and what is not, and what they should do and what they shouldn't do, and what they really should stick to and what they really shouldn't stick to. And that's the main part. It invites you to get into philosophy and to think more and to check what those incredibly smart people far ago start to think about, and that so that you can be connected with them and you can be part of what they thought, and that you can learn everything that they have said. That invitation is really, really appreciated, and I really took it for myself, so I'm gonna start reading some philosophy. That's a good thing for the movie. It really got me into reading philosophy, so it's good. It accomplished a goal of its. In any other part, it's just barely good. It's no bad, it's no good, it's not amazing, it's not horrible, it's just plain good. It sits on a middle ground that it's really enjoyable, and you cannot you really couldn't hate this movie, but you're really not gonna love it unless you really love the philosophy and the aspect, and would you really love the comedy, which I didn't, but I enjoyed it. And it may be difficult for some people to enjoy it, it may be really easy for some people to love it, but it's mostly plain. I would recommend on seeing it if you feel like you want to see it, if you had had the thought of seeing it, but if you haven't, then I would recommend you watch something else. Maybe Hair. Hair is a way better movie. So that is it. That was the review. In this section of the video, we'll classify every movie I see while doing this series in this list of my favorite movies of all time. Yes, it's personal. Yes, it's my own opinion. Yes, it's very, very, very subjective. It's just mine and it's my opinion. So now that I've seen An Irrational Man, it just gets to the second place because there's no other competition and he does not defeat her. So yeah, thank you, Woody Allen, you made the second place. So in this part I shared a thought that I had while watching this movie, and a thought that I want to share with everybody, and if anybody's watching, and I thought that I want to share and to develop right here in the moment. So while I was watching the movie, I had a lot of thoughts about philosophy and philosophical roots and philosophical concepts and philosophical ways of living and philosophical studies, and I found myself thinking about a lot of things, like whether you should do what you have to do if you have the power to do it. With great power comes great responsibility. That was one thing that came to my mind while watching the movie. Also, I had this thought about philosophy, in which I found myself thinking that philosophy was a current of thoughts and studies and manufactured opinions that really had this background and this support to make them feel like they're truths, but sometimes they may not be truths, but we cannot find an argument to disprove them, so they become these philosophical truths. That is an argument that I found myself having. But the main thing that I thought of was the importance of taking action and not being a spectator in your own life, because that's the main part of the movie. Joaquin Phoenix's character lives by this way in which he finds no reason in living, no reason in life, no reason in being alive, no reason in experiencing anything. And so he's sad and he's a little bit depressed, and he finds himself just not caring at all if he lives or dies or anything. And that is the way most philosophers live, maybe, because they know a lot of things and they accept a lot of things because they cannot argue with those things. And some of those things are really depressing, like life having no meaning because we are not going to have really an impact on anybody or something like that. I am not really a philosopher, but the main part here was that in a stage of the movie he found himself a purpose. He found himself this special purpose that if you have seen the movie, you know what it is. And it's a purpose that it's debatable, but it's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how when he finds his purpose, he just goes to do it. He just stops being a spectator on his own life and starts being an active changing of his own life. He starts to do things and he feels complete, and he feels like he has a purpose and that he's achieving this purpose, and he feels full and he feels like the happiest man ever because he just started to do what he believes in, instead of not believing in anything or believing that anything is worthless because life is meaningless and life is blah blah blah, blah like he was in the beginning. But he gets these new things, this new knowledge, this new purpose, and he starts to work on it, and that's the thing that I found incredible. That's how I think life finds a meaning, life gets a meaning, life becomes meaningful when you find yourself, your purpose. And that purpose may not be something important, that purpose may not be something relevant to the world, that purpose may just be relevant to you, relevant to your peers, relevant to the one that is right next to you, the people that are your right next partners, your loved ones, your friends, your family, your partners, anything. It doesn't have to be something great, but you have to find a purpose, you have to find something to fight for, you have to find something to believe in, you have to find something that you will be following your whole life, because that would give your life purpose, and that would give your life as something to be, something to do, something to become, something to be in the future. If you find yourself, your purpose, you have something to do, and if you have something to do, you're completed because you are currently changing the world. Maybe you're not changing it at large scale, but you are actually changing it for the better of you, at least. And that's an important thing, because that's how you should live your life. You should live your life doing things and being active and changing everything to be better. Even if it's somewhat selfish and doing it just for yourself, it doesn't matter, as long as you don't hurt anyone, which is my main philosophy in life, and which is something that I discovered some time ago, that it's the main part of being a great man, not hurting anyone. But that's another thing. That is the main thing. That is what I learned from the movie, and that is what I thought after seeing the movie. You have to find your life's purpose, and when you do it, you will know what you have to do with this time, this limited time you have here on earth. By knowing what you want from life, you know what you have to do for life. And by knowing what you have to do for life, you can start doing it. And by starting to do it, you change the world. Little by little, piece by piece. Maybe not in a big impact, probably yes. But you do change the world. And that is the main part. You have to become what you want. You have to find what you want to be. You have to do what you want to do, and you have to know what it is that is your purpose, so that you can accomplish it and make the world better by accomplishing your purpose. So just go and do. Stop being an inactive watcher of your own life. Take action. Take the handle and just go and do things. It feels a lot better, and it really, really makes the world a better place. Thank you. There's a